Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and it's Doctor Who Day, and we are going to be talking about a Sylvester McCoy and a story, and it's the greatest show in the galaxy, and this is one of my favorite Sylvester McCoy stories. But let's go first to see what Jake and Bradley think, because I think Jake not so keen on this one.
This is my least favourite McCoy story. I'm not saying it's an awful story. It's a decent story. It's just the side characters, for me, let it down completely for me. Now, no shade to writing. It's a good script. It's just the way the side characters are portrayed. But yeah,
Go on then, why is that then?
it's not the sort of story that grabs my interest. I didn't like the audio that is a sequel, a prequel to it either. I just don't like the setting and the whole idea of the psychic circus. It's just not up my alley. And I think compared to what other stories are
Oh, we
in
heard
the
what's up
McCoy
your
era,
alley.
I I know it's controversial that I think it's the weakest McCoy, but that's just my opinion at the end of the day. It's not my cup of tea, so I'm not going to enjoy it. And I've watched it more than once, so yeah, twice.
I'm amazed you think
Now
it's the
over to
weak.
Bradley.
You think it's the weakest.
Well, yeah.
But
Actually, I
Paradise Towers
don't,
is.
no, that's a lie. I don't like Delta and the Bannerman, so it's one above that.
Oh, so Debt on the Bannerman's the weakest. So you lied.
Speak now. Bum licked the episode.
Okay, so I really enjoy the episode. I get what Jake says about the some of the side characters. I mean, you've got Whiz Kid and Nord, but overall, I really like it. It's one of my favourite Sylvester McCoy stories. So, yeah.
Gucci.
Right, let's go over to Beef Dad.
Yeah, this is not, it's probably not the best Sylvester McCoy, but it is quite entertaining. And of course, you have an extraordinary cast in this. I mean, I must confess that when it was first shown and Peggy Mount turned out as the stalls lady, that was wonderful for me because Peggy Mount was always a big favourite of mine on television comedy shows. Yet the clowns were very good, very creepy clowns, and the bus conductor completely mental. Ace was superb in this. She's done better, but Jessica Martin playing Mags was absolutely superb. I mean, I chatted to her about it last October, and she told me that, one of the difficulties in that was the teeth that she had to wear for it, and the fingernails, because it was very difficult for her to do anything while she had the fingernails on. And yeah, the screaming that hurt her throat. But yeah, the ringmaster, played by Rico Ross, was just brilliant. It was just totally evil. And of course you had the the what do you call them? The three gods.
Gods of Ragnarok.
Yes, the gods of Ragnarok, and they're an extraordinary design. It was brilliantly done, and when they were visible as human beings. It was a mother and a father and a little girl. And then when they became the gods of Ragnarok, they all looked so bloody sinister. And yeah, it's an excellent storyline, I thought. It's not the strongest one that he's ever had. And yeah, good fun for me. Yeah.
I actually think Mags would have made a good companion. Companion material.
Yeah, she has. She's been in Big Finish with him.
Oh, was she? Yeah.
Mm.
Because I thought the chemistry they had was quite good. They got on, you know. Yeah. What do you think, Lee? What do you make of this story?
I like this. It's one of my favourites from season 25. I don't think it's a weak storyline or anything like that.
No.
It's, for me, Ian Reddington makes it for me as the chief clown. It doesn't say much, but it's his gestures, his facial features. All the other stars in it, as has been mentioned, you know, Jessica Martin, T.P. McKenna, a very famous Irish actor as Captain Cook. Brilliant. This is the pompous bore he is. But yeah, I just like it. It's different. I don't think we've had anything. We didn't have anything like this sort of storyline before in the series, and the way they were going with McCoy, they were trying something different, and that's what I like about it. You know, robot clowns. They say the gods of Ragnarok. It's yeah, and they're getting all the energy from all the people what go to the circus and like that, and the poor people, you know, do like WizKid and blown into dust and fed on. Yeah, it's good. But as you know, this might not have been made. Me and Ali was talking about this before we start. This story might not have been made because this is the story where they found the asbestos at the BBC recording studios. So they had to really think quick and build a big tent in Elstree car park. But if they hadn't have done that, this would have gone the same way Sharda would have gone. Went, should I say? So, you know, you got to be thankful that they put thinking caps on and they thought really quickly, let's do this. So, and with what they did, it's amazing what they did with it. So, yeah, it's an enjoyable tale. Yeah, it doesn't drag. You know, it's 4 episodes. It doesn't drag. Yeah, I'll say it's one of my favourites from that season. So, over to you, Alid.
Thank you for that, Lee. Let's go to Susan and Alex, since Susie's disappeared.
All right. Well, love Ace. Think that you know, her beating up the train conductor and the other robots with
The bus conductor, yeah.
Yeah, the bus conductor. That was a really fun thing. And then you know, Mags, the werewolf girl was so cool. And the gods of Ragnarok, I mean, I love the fact that he's starting towards, you know, climb up, make the statement of you know, him being something more than you know, you're used to thinking of the Doctor as. They're adding mystery to the Doctor, and that was great. And the other thing that I really like about this story is the fact that there's an old biddy complaining about hippies, and you know, I just you you gotta understand that there's a lot of people around this galaxy complaining about hippies and freaks and stuff, and I enjoy the fact that I'm one of them that they can complain about. But anyway, that was great, and the Seventh Doctor, he's just so cool, and in this he's like he does the whole thing with the like what he used to do as an entertainer. He's hanging upside down by a rope, and he does the twirly bits with his umbrella, and then he also does the magic, the illusions that he does. It was really cool. So that's my take on this. Here's Alex.
Yeah, it's one of the better McCoy stories, and one of them that you actually feel the threat. I mean, the robots, clowns, androids, that was pretty scary. The chief clown is pretty scary. It's nice that they had at least 5 stories that were more scary, that weren't just the first season of him being just comical.
Yeah.
He was being comical in this story, but it was for humor and to entertain the gods of Ragnarok, and I kind of wish they had brought that back. Yeah, I didn't like the prequel on the audio version. Mags is very good. They sort of are making fun. I remember when this first came out, and all the Doctor Who magazines were saying that the geeky kid with the sweater and the glasses was the Doctor Who fans, sort of making fun of it. But that's the other thing. I mean, there is a part of there's elements to the circus that it's a visual medium, it's physical, it's making fun of clowns. Of course, they didn't have any animals, unless you count Mags. But it was, even though it wasn't 100%, fast or 100% interesting, it still was very dynamic, and it still was trying to be funny and sarcastic and humorous and scary, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. This one, Survival, is another story that sort of has a lot of weird rhythms in it, but it's very entertaining. Ghostlight is the same way. They finally gave Sylvester McCoy more of a threat. It wasn't just, like Time and the Ronnie, even though I do like that story, but it's not as interesting to watch. And the other thing too is with
It's too comical.
Yeah, with Survival and Ghostlight and Greatest Show in the Galaxy, you finally feel like they're actually trying to do something modern. It's not just, oh, we're Doctor Who and we have to have an episode and we'll do a lot of talking and that's basically it. Here, I've shown it to other people that aren't Doctor Who fans, and they went, wow, this actually feels like a movie a little bit. This actually feels like there's some tension. I'm not just seeing people talk, in the TARDIS or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's it's interesting. It's different. Unfortunately, it's not the best, but it's different. It's interesting. Like I said, I've shown it to people, and they went, "Wow." So Doctor Who isn't just the big long scarf, the jelly baby, and talking in the TARDIS.
Mind you did get the scarf in this.
Yeah. So
They saw the scarf.
yeah. So I mean, that's the other. That's the other thing too, is that the side characters are interesting.
Yeah.
Side characters are, do have personality.
They do give them a background, yeah. They
Yeah,
work with the surface and things like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, except for 1 or 2 little things, and it's too bad they could have had more budget, a little better special effects.
Yeah, but this looks good though.
Yeah, but it's
As
entertaining.
an episode of Doctor Who, this looks good.
Yeah.
And I forgot to say that. Oh yeah, this is just opening thoughts. Never mind.
Yeah, Alex, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who should we go to next, Susie or Susie?
Very funny.
Who should we go to next?
Susie from Philadelphia.
Right, let's go to Lee.
I know.
No, I'm only joking. Let's go to Susie.
I know it.
All right. Okay. Sorry about the up and down. I have a little sick puppy.
Oh.
Not feeling very well. Yeah, this episode is not one of my favorites. It is a step above for me, Happiness Patrol, and the one where it's miniaturized on the boat from the 20s, and I forget what that's called, but you guys would know what it is.
Carnival of Monsters.
Oh,
is a
Carnival of
Captain Story.
Monsters. Oh, I thought, what the hell's she on about?
But there are, as to use an Alan phrase, enjoyable moments in this. Absolutely, I like the magic tricks that he does. I thought a big problem for me was that the Gods of Ragnarok took so long to surface. If they had surfaced a little earlier and they're more involved, it would have been easier. I thought there were some lost moments, like the elderly woman when they were looking for the circus. She showed up a couple times, and I thought that I was going to see her again in some capacity. I thought that was leading to something, and it went nowhere. And I wasn't a fan of this episode at all. In fact, whenever every once in a while I subscribe to BritBox on Amazon, and I'll just start playing all the classic Who eps, and I generally fast forward through this one, just because of that. I just don't like it. It wasn't for me, and but there was some really great acting. The clown was great, Mags was great. For me, the overall story and how it was executed, the direction, it just was too. It didn't keep my attention, which is unfortunate, because wasn't this the same season they did Battlefield, right? No?
No.
Okay, well,
That's the next season.
well, that's the next season. Well, whatever happened between this episode and that episode, they figured it out. So, but no, this is not my favorite. So, sorry. That's it.
Oh, it's okay to be wrong. You and Jake should be used to it now. Yeah, I really like this story. I actually think this is one of my favorite Sylvester McCoy stories. It's really creepy throughout. It gives you the willies. It really does. The family really do give you the willies. I mean, they're so creepy. They're so just void of anything. They're just creepy. The clowns are absolutely brilliant. Anything with clowns is always a good story with Doctor Who. Just look at the Sarah Jane Adventures with Bradley Walsh. That was an amazing episode. Yeah, I liked Captain Cook. I thought he was a standout character. I like Mags. I like the old biddy. She was funny. She kept it entertaining as well. Yeah, I really, really like this story. I can watch this story anytime. I can put this story on at any time. I could watch it tomorrow and still enjoy it. It's I just like watching it. I think it's very well paced. It never drags, but it's never too quick, and it builds up to a conclusion really well. I think it's really, really well managed, and Ace is amazing in this.
Yes, good.
Yeah, so it's a standout story for Ace as well. Yeah, I really like this story. So let's go to favorite moments. Let's go to.
It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, it's okay to be wrong, Susie. Don't you worry about it, dear. You're all right. You're all right. You're all right there. Let's go. We won't dwell on you being wrong, Susie.
No, I won't dwell on you being wrong.
You're all right there. You're all right.
Not at all.
Let's go to Susan and Alex are asleep. Let's go check.
Susan! Oh my God, she really is sleeping.
Let's go to Jake and Bradley, but we're going to have to whisper the rest of the review for Susan.
All right, then, Matt. I do not hate this story. I don't like the idea of the psychic circus, but I'm agreeing with what everyone else is saying. McCoy and Sophie are great in this episode. McCoy is great in everything, even in Chime and the Rani. He sails through it, and it does show him starting to get darker, which is the McCoy I prefer. I just wish this story was a little bit more darker to match what his doctor was becoming at this time, in my opinion. Like the scenes of the Gods of Ragnarok, I think with him and them and McCoy, I think that was too lit. It was too bright. I think that should have been much darker. But they shouldn't have had all those lights on them. You should have seen their glowing eyes and just the outline of them, sort of thing. But I do like the Gods of Ragnarok. I like the design from the head up, not necessarily the body. I think it looks a bit And like Lee said, most of this was shot in a tent, and Andrew Cartmel talks about it in his memoirs, gives a really insightful look into it, and it was really difficult for them because John Nathan Turner was freaking out, the producer was freaking out, and yeah, it did nearly get cancelled, but they made it work. They popped up a tent or stick TARDIS in that and all the circus stuff, and we're off on our way. And
They put up a big top, and we do love a big top, don't we, Jake?
And Ian Reddington as the clown, oh, perfection. What a good villain he is. Just the way he speaks, and the little ticket robot, like Beef Dad said. I love scary robots with a calm voice, because it makes them so much more creepy, because they ain't got that robotic edge to them. They're like the Vok robots from Robots of Death are so creepy, because the way they speak, because you can feel like you can trust them. Yeah. So what are your favourite moments and stuff?
Okay, well, my favourite moments, like Jake said, Ian Renton as the chief clown, he is a really good villain. I find the atmosphere of the story quite creepy at times, just like everything going on in the background. Okay, Gods of Ragnarok could have been a little bit more present, but I think they sort of have potential. Other people saying Sylvester and Sophie, they work well together. Yeah.
They're very reminiscent of the Third Doctor and Joe in the being that one's more older than the other and is trying to teach them through life, sort of thing. That's why I love Sylvester and Ace together, because they remind me of the Third Doctor and Joe and their relationship.
But just straight away, even in Dragonfire, they just have this connection, don't they? They just, you can just, I mean, they're just a brilliant, brilliant pairing. They really are. I mean, they're probably one of my favourites of the TARDIS team, if you want to call it that. You know, of Ace and the Seventh Doctor. I think they're definitely up there towards the top. Yeah, they're amazing. Let's go to Beef Dad for favourite moments.
I must confess, I laughed like a drain when Ace turned around and told the Doctor that he was an aging hippie. That was really funny. I loved the his magic tricks, which he'd been trained for by the great Soprendo.
Yep.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed the bit where they smashed the hell out of all the robot clowns. That was really, really good. And as I said, I've already said it, Peggy Mount was just brilliant. Peggy Mount was just brilliant. And yeah, this is the thing about Peggy Mount. She never, ever didn't give the best possible job. She's brilliant. She's very funny and very stroppy. She was always a very stroppy old lady. She was very good at that. It was what she was known for playing.
Reminds me a bit of Kathy Burke.
Oh, she's pre-Kathy Burke.
No, reminds me a bit of the performance. You could imagine Kathy Burke doing that.
I think it's the way she talks, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the lad who played the Whiz Kid. He just played Adrian Mole in The Secret Diaries of Adrian Mole.
But it's when she goes, "Young man."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Kathy Burke says, isn't it?
Yeah.
Young man. Yeah.
It's brilliant. And yeah, the conversion of the three gods from the family gave me the creeps, and I thought it was just brilliantly done. And basically the facing down of them by the Doctor was just absolutely brilliant. That's it.
I want to know what Ace has got against sweet corn. What's wrong with sweet corn? I love sweet corn. You know when they're eating and all that slop, it's just sweet corn.
Slop it.
What's wrong with sweet corn? It's just chunks of sweet corn.
Corn, candy corn, or do you mean actual corn on the cob?
Yeah, sweet corn.
Which is
You know, the
what?
yellow stuff you get on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
People hate that stuff.
I love it.
Most people hate it. No, really, it's one of those love-hate relationships. Like corn cob pipes, right?
No, you want sweet corn pizza. Oh,
Ah,
sweet corn pizza with pineapple.
I was just going to say with pineapple.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Yeah, and spinach
I like spinach.
and a bit of mustard
I'm really going to throw up
and
right
custard
now. Okay,
and gravy.
can we mute him?
Yeah, okay, let's go on to Susan and Alex.
Hey, I don't know where you were going with all of that, but
No, nor do I.
Just got to eat all your slop like a good little man. And
all right. So, favorite moments. I liked what Beach House. I liked when they were transferring from the family observing the circus in the tent to the gods of Ragnarok in the little anteroom of existence where they were confronting the Doctor, and that was great, and I loved that whole scene. And then I loved his acting afterwards. That was great. And then the other thing that I really love is I love how, you know, it was sort of brutal without being really gory and stuff, and like that was fun. That was one of the cool things about Doctor Who, but that was extremely true in this story. Was that it was really brutal, like the Captain Cook and whatever, and Mags. That was brutal, and the way that these people with great enthusiasm for the theater had been slowly but surely turned into fodder for these gods. And so like that was I mean it was brutal without being gory, and I love that at the end the Doctor explodes the thing.
Oh, I
And
love
then
that bit.
and as he's walking, I mean, as it's exploding, the Seventh Doctor is not gonna frickin' turn around and look at the explosion. He just walks off like this. And
Yeah, but you know that it wasn't meant to be that big. You know, the explosion wasn't meant to be that big.
I know, but however it was done, it was so
Amazing. Yeah.
that I mean, he didn't turn around. He didn't get scared. He didn't change his pace. It was really just deliberate.
I think that moment sums up his Doctor.
That was so cool.
Such
Anyway,
a cool moment where he just carries on walking.
yeah. So that's my
Amazing.
Seventh Doctor, fandom right there. It's like he's so adorable, and he and Ace are adorable, and he and Mel are adorable. But
not so much Mel, not so much.
But when all is said and done, if the explosions are
I
happening,
love that when all is said and done.
He's just like
Fabulous episode.
I am amazing, and he's not gonna turn around and look and stuff. So anyway, here's Alex.
Anyhow,
Here's my adorable.
Anyhow, I'll take the microphone and I'll tell you what I think.
anyway, yeah, no, it's like I said, I've shown it to people that weren't fans of Doctor Who, and even they went, wow, this is interesting. I mean, it starts off with the rap, with the ringmaster.
Oh, that's
they're
I
in
like the ringmaster as well.
yeah, they're in
he's
the
good.
the chief clown is good, the androids are good and scary. I mean, again, even the screaming that the doctor doesn't hear somehow is very
Well, he
interesting.
turns the screaming off, doesn't he?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of good moments. There's a lot of atmosphere. Some of the modern horror movies should actually take notes from this episode. It would actually be better. And the nice thing is, the way they cut it, the way they cut it, you actually have built-in jump scares. You don't have to have, everything just flying at you from the back of the room. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it has pacing, it has atmosphere, it's scary. Just like Survival, it's scary. Not 100% of the time, but enough that
Spooky.
yeah, it's spooky, and just like Ghost Light as well. Yeah, just like and that's what it's supposed to do. That's just like the Third Doctor. There's I've shown that to people as well, especially like the Terror of the Autons and all that. Where they go, wow, if this had been better special effects, I'd be more scared. But they're definitely, it's definitely there. It's not that they're laughing at it or anything like that. So even the classic series wasn't all bad like people think. It was actually good.
Bad.
Yeah, it was actually good.
They did all right. They did all right.
None bad. None
Well,
bad.
they could have used some more budget, but anyway.
None bad.
Will you?
Yeah, okay.
They probably could have tweaked a few things. They probably did need to make it slightly scary, but scarier. But like I said, it's 90% there, and they had a very tight budget, and the explosion wasn't planned, and all that.
Well, it was planned, but
yeah.
it was much bigger than expected.
Hey, well, they had to be a little Michael Bay. I mean, how else do you finish the story? You got to add a little Michael Bay in there.
I did like it when the tent fell apart as well, and at the end with the Ragnaroks, it started to cave in, didn't it? The walls and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that bit as well. Yeah, and the eye as well at the bottom of the pit.
Yeah. So
the eye at the bottom of the pit.
Yeah.
It's his turn.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we're going to Lee now. Lee hasn't had his favourite moments, has he?
All right.
Are you coming to me now?
Yeah, and then we'll go to Susie, because I don't think Susie's had hers, has she?
Yeah, it is a dark tale. I know you've said the explosion. McCoy was walking straight like that because he dared stop.
Yeah.
They even said cut in the documentary. They even said cut, and he carried on walking. He thought the back of his clothes had all bent off. That's how bad the explosion was. But it's dark. I mean, you've got clowns riding around in hearses.
Yeah, but that was good. That was effective.
Dark tale, and also as well, one of the scenes, what nobody's mentioned is Bellboy taking his own life by his own robots, and then the strangling him, and then you just get the clown going out the door. That's just so creepy and dark, and that's how this should be for the Seventh Doctor, because he was going down the dark route. So yeah, it's a fun tale. Yeah, that's
you like your tales, don't you?
Yeah, I mean Peggy Mount of Beef.
Tales, aren't you?
It was known. I'm ignoring you, Alid, because I'm talking, not you. Peggy Mount was well known for playing. You do this every time. You interrupt people. Peggy Mount was well known, as Beef Dad says, of playing battle axes, and she was well known for comedy shows. And to see her pop up in a doc book, it was just wonderful. Right, you can fill your books, Alid, and you can talk as much as you want.
Well, go Susie.
All right. Yeah. Well, this I already said this isn't my favorite episode, but like it did have some cool stuff in it. My favorite was the magic tricks, McCoy's magic tricks. I mean, Obviously, that took a lot of training. And one of the reasons I like being on these casts is because I get all kinds of background information that I didn't know, like the name of the magician that trained him, and how they filmed it in a parking lot. And it really does give you more appreciation for, what went into filming this, because the production value is not the same as it is today. If this had been Doctor Who today, it would look very different. One of the cool things I did like about it is there were a lot of hallways with different layers of material that they were trying to get through. You know what I mean? Walking through hallways and kind of getting through as if it was some sort of harder to get through than it was, but that was actually quite effective because of the way the actors dealt with it. I liked the hallway bits. And I mentioned the older lady who gave directions at the beginning, that she's the one that Lee was talking about. She was really good. And I just wish that had been developed and I had seen her again. As a story goes, I think it could have been really good. I just didn't like the pacing of it. Now that I know there were really serious issues with it, that for me, that explains a lot. But it's still just not to watch, is not one of my favorite. It just takes too long before it's revealed what the gods are there. And, it's just not for me. But this was not one of my favorite seasons. This whole era was not one of my, I like the Doctor, I like Ace. There are a lot of really good acting moments in this, but production-wise, direction-wise, this was not my favorite time period. So that's about it. But there was some really good stuff in it, and obviously people worked really hard. But there are other episodes that I just absolutely love. This is not one of them.
All right, let's move on to final say and score. Let's go to Susan and Alex.
All right, Alex will be back in a sec.
Alex is gone. Oh,
no,
right.
just hold on. It's fine. For all that the enjoyable parts of this and my deep appreciation for Sylvester and Sophie, both of whom I've had the privilege and pleasure of. I interviewed Sophie on another podcast, and I was able to meet Sylvester McCoy recently at Long Island 2, which was brilliant. I really enjoy who they are as people, as actors, and as entertainers, and I love the characters that they play. So adorable, and so I'll give this 9.7 out of 10 because of the seventh Doctor.
Clever.
Here's Alex.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, obviously meeting them, is great. I've met them. I met Sophie in the 90s, and I met Sylvester recently as well. It's not the actor's fault. They should have pumped this up a little bit more. It should have been a little bit more sinister, but considering that it's the 80s, you can see a lot of tropes that they were clever with. There was a lot of, sort of making fun of Doctor Who itself and making fun of the horror trope, and that's another thing that's good. And as I said, it's got a lot of atmosphere. You got great side characters. You've got a lot of scary moments, like with the androids and stuff. So, I mean, it did do a good job. It's just a shame that they have to work with such a tight budget back then.
So, what would you give it at 10?
I'd say I'm going to give it an 8.5. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Like I said, and it's more of a compliment too when you have people that aren't fans that are complimenting it. Like Jake and his buddy said, if they had made if they had made the Ragnarok creatures scarier, if they had made the Ragnarok creatures scarier, I think it might have been more effective as well.
Let's go to Jake and his buddy.
All right, you know what I'm saying. Where's the?
Well, my buddy Jake isn't here. I know he's just gone to the toilet. He's back in a minute, but he's on his way.
Shout his score. Shout your score from the low.
What's that? A 10? All right. His story's
10, that'll do.
No, I'm giving it an 8. Some of the side characters. I mean, I like Peggy Mount's character. I like some like the circus performers, but it's mainly like WizKid and Nord. Those two characters, I'm not a big fan of.
Is he shouting from the loo?
No, he's coming down the stairs.
I can hear him, he's out of breath. Bloody hell. Come on, Jake.
Yeah.
Clean it up after yourself. His, as Alex put it himself, Jake and his buddy. Jake and his
Boyfriend,
buddy.
thank you. I will give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Hold on, you just said a 10.
What?
You said a 10 earlier.
No, 7.5 out of 10. That's not, yeah.
Take it easy, Jay.
You have
Take it easy.
you have a lie down. Let's go to Susie.
Oh, well,
Yep.
I was going to say 4, but it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't. My gut feels bad when I say it. So I'll say 6.
Yeah, 6 is fair enough.
It would have been 4, but a lot of the information that I heard on this cast made me think, okay, I'll up it to 6. It's just not. There it is.
Yep. Okay, let's go to Beef Dad. I think Jake's passed out.
Well, I really enjoyed this. I've met Sylvester and Sophie and Jessica, and many years ago, I was lucky enough to meet Peggy Mount, and I met T.P. McKenna because he came and watched me on stage in Patience, and he came backstage and told us all that he'd really enjoyed it. And it's really lucky they did such a superb job of this, I would say. And the creepiness of the clowns. I always wonder about people and their thing about clowns and how they're scared of them, but I think they must have watched this. So for me, it gets a 9.
Yeah, 9's pretty good. Yeah. I'm still amused by how I made Jake run back from the toilet. That was so cruel of me. Let's go to Lee. He really ran back, didn't he? He got back as soon as he could.
I've also met Sylvan Soph many times, and they are good people. It's enjoyable. It's one of my favourites from the season, so I'm giving it 10 juggling balls out of 10.
That's a lot of balls.
You know me.
Set 'em up.
Yep.
Over to you.
Oh, thank you. I was waiting for that. Thank you.
I had my balls over to you.
We were just all thinking about the 10 balls then, weren't we? We all went quite quiet then. Yeah. Well, I love this story. It's one of my favorites. I think Sylvester McCoy is really excellent in this. Ace is really excellent in this. It's a really solid story. The clowns are excellent. It's just creepy all the way through. It has this atmosphere all the way through, even though that there is humor. Captain Cook is humorous. You've got the old biddy, she's humorous, and there's a lot of humor. But behind it all, you've got the clowns and the hearses just driving up and the windows going down and back up. And he's so imposing, isn't he? The head clown. It's got It's got to be a 10. Yeah, I've got to give it 10 juggling balls out of 10 as well. Yeah, it's excellent story. Can watch this numerous times and still be entertained by it. And as well, the problems with production as well, which hats off to it, because it was a very, very difficult time, because asbestos, in the late 80s, 90s, was a really big thing, wasn't it? With buildings being closed down, because obviously they found out that it gives you cancer. So it became illegal, didn't it? In buildings like that. They had to get rid of it. So they had to film it in the car park, which I think probably helped in a way of set, because it was a tent, wasn't it? At least it wasn't a studio with just walls just with cloths around it. It was actually in the shape of a tent. He actually believed it. And yeah, of course, it was the same corridor all the time, but it still worked. It still looked effective. When Ace hid behind the cloth when she ripped it, and then she hid behind the clowns, run off after her. Yeah, so it was very good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm giving it a 10. I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. Tell us below what you made of this Doctor Who story.
And watch the earlier podcast that we did for audio heads on the Psychic Circus, which
got the master in, right?
Yeah, which has Dreyfus's master, and so yeah, this is our second one in this week or this month that's all about the.
So that's a prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a prequel to be. Yeah.
Like Lee's holding up there.
And the main problem is, of the prequel and this, why didn't Kingpin and the Chief Clown recognise the Doctor? I don't get that, but there you go. Just that only great.
Yep. Well, you'll have to ask Big Finish for that. Yep. All right then. Well, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and also ding-a-ling that bell. Hey, Jake. So look after yourself, take care, and we'll see you next time. Apart from Jake, who's never coming back.
He's banned.